Welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 and the fourth video in a series on looking at the most profitable animals in Farming Simulator 22. And today we're looking at horses which are surprisingly different to FS19. You still have to ride them, obviously, but they don't work the way that they used to from what I am seeing. And I'll cover it in a summary kind of at the end. So we're starting off, I have brought this field here on Elm Creek. It was one that had oats in, and we need oats for horses. So leased a combine, buying ourselves a Fendt Favorite 500 and a little trailer to store the oats in. And yeah, this is pretty much going to be like the other ones. I'm going to see two different things. One, just straight up, how do horses work and how much money do they make, but also can we make a profitable farm out of running a small number of horses. So yeah, we've combined our oat field, so we're going to stick in the smallest horse pen. I went for that one because with horses you have to ride them, so there was a time factor involved. So this can hold 5 horses, and we do end up putting all 5 in. I initially only buy 3, but then decided to expand it to 5. I had no idea how much food and things they would use, so yeah, we're doing that. The smaller pen does need water, but doesn't take straw. Horses need oats, and I think they take sorghum as well, and hay. So we're going to mow the headlands that we have to make a little bit of hay to get us going. And again, I'll cover it in more detail in, but actually they don't use that much food. I guess it's because there's only a small number of them. So yeah, that is a benefit. Surprisingly small amount actually. So just mowing some grass to make some hay, and then we're going to need a water tank, because I said the small one does need water, and we are also going to need to buy the horses. So horses cost quite a bit to transport. They are £300 each, and they're about 500. They are £500 to buy, and you buy them from 0 years old. So the transportation cost is a big factor. If you then sell them using the auto transport, that's £600 out of your potential profit that you are losing. So particularly with the modded trailers available now, I would definitely consider, if you're going to do horses, having your own trailer or leasing one. It's probably cheaper to lease a trailer than use the transport feature. And we'll get around to buying the horses very shortly. And then I'll talk about what I've learned about how they work. So we're just getting some free water here. I don't think I had to fill the tank up very many times at all. So yeah, you buy them from 0 months old, and much like in FS19, you ride them every day and clean them and feed them, and they increase in value. So they start off, once you've brought them, at about 100. They're worth £120. So you pay 500 and they instantly lose a big chunk of that value. And then every day that you keep the horses, they gain in value. Early on they gain value slightly quicker, but once they get settled, it settles to about £128 a day, assuming that you're riding them. I didn't do any tests when you're not riding them, and I'll do a summary of this in a bit better at the end. It takes about 2 minutes to ride the horse each. This is just me expanding to fill the pen up. So how I managed this little farm was, we had an oat crop in, obviously, when we first bought the field. I then seeded it with grass, and we managed to get 2 cuts of grass off before we then needed to reseed with oats. So you could run this with one field, and I got more than enough oats and hay. I also did straw on the second oat harvest that I did, and I got a whole load of straw that you could either use for bedding for animals or sell for profit. I got so much hay off of this field in 2 cuts that I had a load of bales left. So you could also sell some hay to make some more cash. Starting to look at the finances a bit. So compared to some of the other farms, because it's only 5 animals, we didn't actually really make enough of a steady income to justify buying all the equipment. I would say horses, if you're going to run a horse ranch, you're going to need to make it quite big. I think it could be quite profitable, but you'd need to make it quite big, and without horse helper you need to spend a lot of time riding horses or learn how to edit the save game to create horse riding effects. And I'll come on to what just happened there as we, so you'll notice, actually we'll do it now, horses have foals in FS22. And I'll go back to that in a sec. So yeah, overall, actually, we didn't really make a profit. If I had kept the horses for 2 years, sold them when they reached at the end of the 2 years, they peaked out at 3,338 in value, so a lot less gain than in FS22, but probably more realistic and certainly less overpowered than they were in FS19. So yeah, you can make a reasonable amount of money in that time. They didn't use that much food. They used about 7,000 litres of oats and 20,000 litres of hay over that 2 years, which is not a lot. For quite a small investment for a reasonable return. And if we look at the per animal comparison that I did before, over those 2 years, actually horses are almost as profitable as cows. That's not accounting for the fact that they, what you spend on the animal. I would say, they're competing with cows. If you look at the per £1,000 cost, so versus the amount you invest in the animal, actually they're doing better than cows. They're not as good as chickens. Chickens are just insane in this game for what they cost you to set up, but they are a really good option. So just moving to a summary of what I learned from running horses with FS22. So initial price, £500 plus the transport cost. I would definitely recommend leasing a trailer if you're doing a reasonable amount of them, or if you're running these as part of a bigger farm, then pick up a trailer that does horses as well. At the end of the 2 years, they were worth £3,338, so we'd gained £2,838 over 2 years. I ran this for a third year because it takes 3 years to get the foals, and at that point they were still raising in value, and I have not reached a peak at that point. I stopped because this has taken a really long time to get all the data collected, but at that point the horses were worth £4,500 each. Over the 2 years, as I said, that we used about per animal about 1,400 litres of oats, which would cost you about £1,800 to buy. So that would wipe out a big chunk of your profit if you weren't growing the oats. But if you're running this as part of a farm, grow an oat field every 2 years, you'll be good. And about 4,000 litres of hay per horse for 2 years. So again, not very much. You buy the animals at 0 months old, and after 33 months you will start to get your first foals. So totally different to how horses work in FS19, where they didn't breed. In FS22 they do, and again they start at 0 months old, so they are worth £120 at that point. How I would think about running a horse ranch, and it's a long time investment, is an important thing apart from the riding time. You get your first foal at 33 months. What I would probably do is keep them for 11 months. So although in game it says it takes 11 months for a foal to mature, actually, because there seems to be a rounding error, it takes a year for them to be born, because they're only doing 9%, and so you get to 99% at 11 months, and you have to do the extra month to get the foals to appear. I would keep them for 11 months. At that point they're worth about £1,800 each, and you could then sell them and you'd get another set. The other way you could think about doing it is keeping them for 22 months, and then they would be worth a lot more. And if you've got space, you could keep them and cycle them through, so you sell off the older ones and keep the younger ones for raising for fresh foals. And yeah, you could do it like that. I definitely think horses have potential to make you quite a lot of money, but it is quite a time commitment. You're looking at 2 to 2.5 minutes per horse to ride them until we get the horse helper mod, and then you could pay someone to ride them for you, which is definitely an option. But yeah, more profitable than I expected. Not like FS19. You're not going to keep a horse for 10 days and it'd be worth £55,000 like they were in 19. But you get foals. So I think they're more realistic and I think they're more balanced than they used to be. So yeah, turns out horses are probably the second most profitable animal in the game. The other bit that I've missed that I haven't mentioned is looking at the XML files for the bigger horse enclosures. They should produce manure. I can't get that to work. I have got a query in with Giants, and when I get an answer, I'll do a video on it. So thanks for watching, folks. Like, subscribe, comment. Catch you next time.